Okay, so I thought I'd do a video on the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W running Retropie, and it does run really well. Now, I did a previous video on the old Pi Zero W, and I've just watched that back, or just sort of flicked through it, and Duke Nukem was working really well on that, and also Minecraft was working decent as well. But there are some other things that were definitely slow. So let's show the setup that I'm running. I've got power coming in from an official Raspberry Pi adapter, USB-C. Then I've got a USB-C to micro adapter. This is a 4-port USB hub, and I've got my Logitech mouse keyboard. I've got a separate Geneon mouse in here, and then I've got my USB adapter for my Xbox 360 controller. The reason I use an Xbox 360 controller is it just tends to work with absolutely every system, and USB is just much easier than anything with Bluetooth. Obviously, if you're using the same system all the time, Bluetooth is fine, but if you keep changing systems, USB just works, and it is really good. Mini HDMI adapter to HDMI, and then you can see that's where power is coming from the USB hub, so it's passing it through, and I've got a 32 gig Gigastone SD card in there. Now, older systems have run on the Pi for ages, so SNES, Mega Drive, ZX Spectrum, Amiga, all of those, Arcade the same. They've all run on here for a long time. What was most interesting to me was Dreamcast performance, also N64 and PSP, and also original PlayStation, because they really didn't run on the original Pi Zero. So it'll be interesting to see how well it copes with that. But before I do that, I'm just going to check if I'm overclocked, because I can't really remember. So if I hit quit emulation station. So if I have a look at the config.txt to see if I'm overclocked, so disable overscan, that just gets rid of the black border. I've got the HDMI setting here, which forces 640 by 480, which is what I had for the Pi Zero W, and worked really well on that, and I haven't changed anything, and 640 by 480 is fine for all of these systems, I would say. So we're using the fake KMS driver for graphics. Got some GPU memory things in here, which I don't remember doing, but whether I got that as a tip from another video, but I can't see any overclocking in there. So let's try it first of all without, there you go, so ARM frequency was 800, but it's hashed out, so it's not overclocked. So let's quit out of that, Control X. I'm not going to overclock at this stage, and if I type in emulation station and hit return, it will boot back into Retropie. And you can see it actually loads up really quick. On the Zero W, it took ages to do all of that. So all the menus are really snappy and really nice to use. So let's go in for a bit of Dreamcast first of all, and a bit of Tony Hawk's. Now, I've had to use Rycast for this rather than Redream, and Redream definitely works better on the Pi 4. But let's give it a try and see what it's like, again, without the overclock. I can already see the menus look a bit slow. But Redream definitely performs better on the Pi, but it wouldn't allow me to install it because it was 64-bit. So I might need to play around with what version of Retropie I use. Yeah, you can see already that it's not terrible, but it's not as it should be. So let's quit out of that and try one more Dreamcast game. Okay, audio's not right on the intro video. Graphics are a bit weird, and it's definitely running slow. Okay, we won't bother with that. But what I've thought about is I'm going to try running Redream in Raspberry Pi OS or Twister OS, because I think it will probably work better in that. So let's quit out of that. So N64, which I did try on the original Zero, but it was terrible, completely unplayable. And I've just gone with the settings that it's gone with initially. Okay, well the sound is definitely alright. So I don't play a lot of Mario Kart on the N64, but I would imagine speed-wise this feels alright. It still feels quite competitive and everything, but let me know if you think it should be faster than this. I couldn't work out how to get FPS on this. I did have a quick look. Actually, that feels slow, doesn't it? Felt alright when I was going in between the characters, but yeah, it should be faster than that, I'm sure. Okay, Mario 64. Yeah, all the intro was nice and smooth. So let's see when we start running around how it copes. Oh, that feels alright. Yeah, happy with that. Bit of PlayStation, so let's try a bit of Castlevania.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world.
Nice voiceover. Oh, that wasn't the best jump. Oh, it does seem to be working fast enough though. Oh, that was better. Have I got... Oh, I've got this. That might do him some damage. Or is that doing me damage? Okay, so let's try something else. Let's try a bit of Driver 2. Okay, so I can look left and right, nice and swift. And it seems to have taken off quite well. Yeah, that feels reasonable considering the type of car I'm driving. Always used to love the handling on this. This and the original Driver, just really, really good. So good for its time and to have a city to explore and everything. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. I'm happy with that. Oh, I wasn't happy about the driving though. So the one I was most interested in is PSP, because PSP is so recent. Oh, actually, before I do PSP, I wanted to show you in the ports. So I've put a load of things in here, going through the system, and I'll show you how to do it in a minute. Although I keep forgetting to mention, I've got a Retropie set up, 3 videos in a row, and it kind of goes through all of the setup of Retropie, and it will definitely help if you're struggling with it. So Duke Nukem, which I showed recently with DOSBox, works way better in this. And I'm using a mouse for this just because it's easier to control. And this mouse has 3 different modes, 2 Bluetooth and 1 for the actual dongle that comes with it. So you can actually have it paired to, say, my iPad. I could have it connected to my smart TV, but also I could have it in my Pi just by switching between the modes. It's really good and they're super cheap. Okay, so with the mouse you can see that looking around, up and down and side to side is nice and fast. Let's just pick up some ammo and jump. So let's get down here. It performs brilliantly with the mouse. It is just perfect. You can see, so before it was, oh, still not dead. Before it was definitely not fast, but like this, this is just amazing to play. Can't believe it. So this version, and you install this, I'll show you how to install this in a minute. But basically, oh, not good. Let's just go into the cinema bit because it was terrible before because I was trying to do it on a controller. What's it? Enter to go. Oh, something's behind me. Where's that? Oh, up here, that. Oh, there's a big thing up here. Come on, show your face. That'll do. Anyway, really impressed with that. That is super fast. Look at that. And the sound is amazing on it as well. Just so good for such an old game. Really, really enjoyable to play. So unfortunately I have to quit out of that, but I'm definitely go back and just play that. And to get this, what you have to do is to go into the configuration of Raspberry Pi. And in fact, all of these I've installed from the Retropie menu. So you can see there's Quake there, there's Prince of Persia. It'll be interesting to have a look at Quake in a minute. So if I go back, go to the Retropie menu. Again, the 3 videos will show all of this in much better detail. But Retropie setup. And if we go to Manage Packages, and manage, so optional and experimental packages are worth looking at. So optional, you can see here some of the things that I've installed. There you go, so DOSBox is installed, Main for All is installed. And here's the ports at the bottom here, look. So various things, so eDuke I've installed. LZ Doom. Lots of other things, and you just click on them. So say for instance I want Wolfenstein. If I click on that, install from precompiled binary, hit that, and yes, and that will just go ahead and install. and then once it's done, after you've done a restart, it will show up in the menu. And you can see it goes back to this, and then you can go back and keep going back, and then perform reboot. And if we go back into ports, there you go, you can see Wolfenstein is on there. Although I can't really show Wolfenstein because of some of the symbols that are in there. I think it's probably best not to put that on YouTube. So let's try a bit of Quake. Oh yeah, this looks really good. Yeah, controls are using the arrows, but I'll use it just to show it rather than the WASD. So just to show how decent this runs, it runs really well. I need to set it up for strafing and all that really, but yeah, just to show how well it runs. Yeah, very, very nice. Need to configure the controls, but that is working perfectly. So let's quit out of that, but that's great as well. And the bit that I really wanted to show was definitely PSP, because I was amazed that it worked. I've tried the PSP Go games and I tried a little bit of GTA, although I think that's where I'm going to need the overclock. So let's go back and PSP. Oh, I had MS-DOS as well. Let's try a bit of Need for Speed. This looks like it's going to work out alright because the controller's picked up straight away. Oh, and I remember I had to change the gears on this. Oh, the sound isn't working on this as well. It wasn't in my DOSBox video either. So maybe there's something I have to do a bit different with the sound. But you can see it's working. It's not the smoothest, but it is working. Oh, a bit fast. Catching them all up. Let's see if we can undertake them all. Oh, someone just shot right across the course. Yeah, well, you can see that DOSBox is working in it. PSP, because it's such a recent system compared to a lot of the other things that work on the Pi, you get some really decent games on here. But obviously don't leave out, there's loads and loads of retro games on the older systems that will work absolutely fine on this. I'm more concentrating on the things that were not working on the original Pi Zero. Let's go for GTA Vice City Stories. Now I'm not using any cooling and I'm not using any overclocking at this stage, but I have got my other Pi Zero, which has got GPIO pins and has got a fan on it as well. So I know I can take that much higher. But the reason I want to show this, first of all, is because it shows the FPS. All the audio sounds alright, although obviously I can't play any of the music, which is a shame. That looks a bit jerky, gone down to 7 FPS.
Listen, if plans change.
I also need to get rid of the sound. There we go. So what we'll do is drive out the gate. Remember, this is a $15 machine though. And we're going to go left, go down to the bridge. I think there's a bridge down there. Oh, you can see it says to try frame skip. Right, and let's just drive. Okay, so at this stage it's not playable, but you can see 5-6 FPS, not good at all, but we can do some tweaking, lots of tweaking on that. Yeah, you can see it's not playable. But if I quit out of this, so if I go exit the menu, you can see I showed this in another video, this 4x4 Jam, which is a PSP Go game, and this does work really well, even without overclock. All the menus super fast as well. So you can see if I follow the other cars, so we can just see how nice and fast it is. But yeah, it's actually working fine. 36, 38 FPS, but certainly perfectly playable even without overclock. So let's quit out of that and let's do some overclocking. So we can exit here. So if I press start at this stage and go down to quit emulation station, yes. So sudo nano boot config.txt. Let's find the bit with the overclocking. Yeah, so you can see ARM frequency was 800. Let's go right up to 1350. Get rid of the hash. Over underscore voltage. Let's try 6. Control X and yes to quit out of that and enter. And now I need to shut it down. So sudo shutdown -H now. Because I'm very fortunate to have two Pi02Ws. So this one has got GPIO pins which came pre-soldered, and I've got the Pi fan shim which just plonks on the top. You don't have to do any screws or anything like that. So let's switch these two over. Bit funny with the Pi fan shim with the HDMI, but it does work. It probably helps because it kind of bends it up a bit, making better contact maybe. Right, so that's plugged in. Pop this micro SD card in, and we should get a green light as soon as it picks it up, but it hasn't yet. You can see the fan, well, you might be able to see the fans running. The fan's running, so let's switch off, wait for the lights to go out, and then switch on again, and you can see the green light has come on now. But it is ridiculous what we can get out of this. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's go back into GTA. Managed to avoid the truck. So we're about the same FPS. Well, in fact, we're slightly lower, 5 or 6. Yeah, we are pretty much the same. So what we need to do now is just mess about with the settings a bit to see if we can get something better on here. So OpenGL is fine. Frame skipping is on auto. Full screen is fine. We're on 1x PSP. I've had better performance than this. So filtering will lower that down or turn it off, and if we continue that, it could be that it's a lack of RAM that is why this game is struggling. Yeah, so we're still on 6 or 7. So not really playable on this. So let's try a few different PSP games. There might be some more things I can try, but yeah, that's not going so well. We've got this touch racing. Yeah, it's just nice and smooth. Oh, I can't get it off. What's reverse? Oh, okay, you can reset. Not sure what brake is on this. You've got to really anticipate the corners. Okay, that's all right. So it's got quite sharp cornering, but you've definitely got to anticipate the corners well. And he's off. But yeah, I think you can see that's definitely working as it should. So what else have I got on here? Motocross versus ATV. This is a full PSP game, but we could be getting into the RAM limitation because it's only 512 megabytes as opposed to 1, 2, 4 or 8 on the Pi 4. But I always think that 2 gig is the sort of minimum you should go for on a Pi 4. Yeah, it's already choppy, and this is with the overclock. Yeah, it's not going to be playable. Little Big Planet is alright at the start, but as the game goes on a bit, it does definitely slow down. Just depends how much is going on the screen, really. So you can see all the motion and everything. Looks really nice, feels really nice, so it's telling me to go this way. But certainly as you go on, if you play some of the levels where there's a bit more going on, it tends to struggle. Oh, get out. Can I get over that? Yes, I can. Again, this is a game that works really well on the Pi 4. I can't seem to get up there. Oh well. Anyway, let's leave this one and try a bit of Angry Birds. And so as there was no touchscreen on the original PSP, you just got to pull back with the analog stick and release. So this is the sort of game that's obviously going to run well on that. And then one more, let's go for this one. I don't even know what this is called, but it's quite funny. You've got to match the shapes to get through the holes in the walls. So what's it? Left is left arm, right arm, and circle and square, which works well on an Xbox joypad. So square would be X and circle would be B. So it's quite difficult this. So we need to look ahead and we need to match the shape on the wall and also go through it. So we're all the way over here and Oh, just. There we go, happy with that. It's the best I've done all oh! Anyway, let's quit out of that. I'm really pleased with it. I was thinking I might have been able to improve Grand Theft Auto a little bit. I thought I had better performance before, but maybe I didn't. Yeah, it looks like it's a RAM limitation maybe on some of those more advanced PSP games. Anyway, I hope all this helped. Hope you liked it. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.